Hello everyone and welcome to the Formula 1 ERS F1 League Championship. It's the first ever race around the Albert Park circuit here in Australia. This is going to be a lovely one, isn't it? As we're on board with Electric Salt in the Ferrari, this circuit, around 5.4 kilometers long, it's lovely. Oh god, what's happened here? He's spun. As M. Schumacher has got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Electric Salt. The drama has already started here, folks. This is really exciting. All the drivers heading out now to try and set a lovely old banker time. They just need to set a good lap time for the beginning. They're going to try and improve on it as the session wears on. As we go on board with Scales E69 here in the AlphaTauri, this is going to be really exciting stuff. Braking late on turn 1, lovely. Kissing the apexes, trying to have as much speed along the circuit as possible. Till now it's been a lovely clean lap, full throttle through turn 5, lovely stuff. This is really going to be an exciting race here, so stick around with us. He's just trying to maximise entry and exit speeds every single corner, and it seems to be working. Purple in sector 2. Till now this has been a lovely lap. It really is pushing the boundaries of the car and the circuit. As he goes P1 for now with a 21.8. A good banker time, but I think we can improve on that as the session wears on. As we're on board with the Mercedes of Kiltashi X3. Is he going to be able to beat the lap time that Scales is put on? As PRT Hubert get to 1:21.2, 6 tenths faster than Scales in the AlphaTauri. What is Kiltashi going to manage? He is slower, but by how much? It's a 22.5. That's 1.3 seconds off the pole time. He's probably made a mistake. As Marshy Boy does a 24.2. Drivers struggling to set a clean lap time around here. As we've got a yellow flag in sector 3, I think that's one of the Ferraris. It's a racing point. It's Alfie. I think he's made a mistake on this lap, and he's got wing damage. Hope he doesn't get disqualified whilst coming back on circuit. That can happen on this game sometimes, as he waits patiently to let the other drivers pass. He's going to have to get back into the pits and change that front wing. That really does not seem good. But this is what happens when you push the limits this hard. You do sometimes make mistakes. So right now as it stands, PRT A. Hubert with a 1:21.290, the fastest man on circuit. Only 6 people have set lap time so far, so do expect this to change a lot. 13 minutes left in the session. This could go anyone's way. As we go on board with Moto Gerbe, who has set a 1:21.5 here. He's gone P2. Now this is getting really close up top. As we've got another yellow flag. I'm not sure what that was for. I think M. Schumacher is going for a hot lap round here. Trying to maximise your exit speed around turn 3. Adam, the F1 King in the Ferrari, is in the way, but he does get out beautifully. The AlphaTauri might have slowed down M. Schumacher a bit there, you know. Turn 5, easy flat, but he lifts. I think this lap is a goner. Lots of drivers complaining about other drivers not getting out of the way, and we have seen that a bit. Adam has gotten out of the way, lovely, but the AlphaTauri did stick it on the racing line, didn't he? That might go to the stewards. If Michael Schumacher here has applied for it. Yeah, and this lap's been invalidated, I think. As Kretos does a 124.2. Quite a bit off the pace, actually, the bottom 3. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe the drivers are making mistakes. I doubt this is their indefinite pace. I'm sure everyone can improve by a bit. As we go on board with Kyotashi X3 in the Mercedes. Into 6th gear, this seems like a hot lap. Having as little steering input through here as possible. Lovely stuff. Make sure not to invalidate it, which he has. This lap has gone now. I'm not sure if he was up. If he was, he'll be kicking himself for that. As Lucas OVE 2003 goes fastest with a 121.0. Wow, now this is really fast. The gap up front, 2/10 between Lucas OVE and PRT A. Hubert with 10 minutes to go in the session. This could still go anyone's way, you know. With around 10 minutes to go, only 10 drivers have set lap times. I'm not sure what this is all about. Maybe drivers are waiting for the track to ramp up, but they really are risking it, aren't they? As Kyotashi gets nicely out the way. Let's go on board with Itaboy Alfie. Really pushing this lap. Flat through turn 5. Lovely stuff. He really is throwing the car around, isn't he? This seems to be a lovely lap till now. He might run into a bit of traffic in form of that McLaren though, but I think he might be on an outlap, I'm not sure. Full throttle round here, braking nice and late, turning in early. Make sure to keep your lap valid, which he has done. Lovely stuff. It might be a little bit of a long-term slipstream from the McLaren, but I don't think it's going to improve his lap by a lot. I really hope the McLaren doesn't hold him up in the final sector, because it does seem like a good lap. Round turn 15, slight lock-up. Turn 16, how is this lap going to fare? Will he be able to beat Lucas OVE? It's a 122.3, and that leaves him P7. Now, this is... Oh, and that's a spin. That's a spin. He's gone backwards into the barrier, and because he went in backwards, I think he's still in this qualifying session. His car is not moving. Let's go on board. Is he still in the quali session? I am not sure. He's shifted down to neutral. Yes, he is. That's lovely to see. I think if the car had gone into the barrier head on, I think this would have been a different story. The Codemasters F1 game's damage model doesn't really equate for rear damage, so he's been lucky there, hasn't he? Alfie pushing hard, but he's been disqualified from the session. What has he done now? I think he's parked it. I think the game thought that he was parking in an unsafe area, and it's disqualified him. That is really unlucky, isn't it? That is really, really unlucky. Wow. So right now, with 10.5 minutes to go, your top 5. Lucas OVE 2003, PRT Hubert in P2, Moto Jobe in P3, Adam in P4, and Scalesy69 in P5. What a quali session, and it's still not decided who's going to start on pole position. This could go anyone's way. Most drivers in the pits right now. Adam the F1 King seems to be on a hot lap. Shifting up into 8th gear nice and early. Braking late. Oh, he needs to... Ooh, that wasn't a very good... I think he's aborted the lap, you know. Yeah, he's lifted off. Ooh, he's made contact with the wall. Yikes, what's happened there? Does he have damage? We need to wait for... Yes, he does. He's got a bit of left front wing end plate damage. This really does slow you down by a lot. It's the Y250 vortex that the front wing creates to try and divide the air to the barge boards. It keeps the airflow nice and straight, but without the end plates, the downforce does drop off quite a bit. As Gaussian Gallardo has left the session, I think he's crashed in some way. Or he's just satisfied with P6. I'm not sure what's gone on there. Sultashi in the Mercedes on an out lap. How is this going to fare? Preparing the tyres. He's on the mediums, by the way. That's something we also say. It's a 50% race, so we might see two-stop strategies come to play here. But if he can start on the mediums, it's going to improve his strategy by a lot. But he needs to improve on his lap time to do that. Full throttle now. This has got to be a good lap. Let's go on board. Braking nice and late. Slight lock up. Missed the apex by a few meters. Got on the grass there. This does not seem to be his best lap. Flat out through turn 5. Lovely stuff. Trying to have as little steering inputs as possible on his way around this lap. Trying to increase your minimum speed. The speed that you are, at which you are the slowest. Usually that's when you hit the apex. Into third gear, keeps it in third. Some people like to shift down to second. What he has to do now is keep his lap validated in the fast left-right chicane. Braking nice and late, past the 50-meter board. Full throttle from now on until the next right-hander. The McLaren might give him a bit of slipstream again. 75 meters, a slight lock-up as well as the McLaren of Magic B Marvel gets out of the way nicely. Revving out fourth gear there. Braking nice and late for turn 15, hits the apex beautifully. Turn 16, a long right-hander. You can just wait to get on the power. It's an awful feeling whilst driving the car, just waiting till you have maximum grip. And he's across the line, and where does that put him? It does a 121.7, excuse me, and that has been an improvement. So if he doesn't go out on the soft tyres later, he is going to be able to start on the mediums. He's the only person in the top 10 who's decided to go on the medium tyres, which is surprising, but it will mean that he's going to have a lovely strategy in the race. As if the boy Alfie got disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. Yikes. We're seeing a lot of drama in this qualifying session already. How is this going to fare for the race? Piotr Hubert went fastest in the third sector, but could not improve, or could not beat Lucas OVE. He's gotten a lot closer though. That is less than a tenth. Wow. ERS F1 League, the closest league I've ever been in. Wow, this is really exciting stuff, isn't it? As Kratos in the Alfa Romeo is on a hot lap, is he? I'm not sure. He's run out of the ERS. He might have backed out here, you know, as he's invalidated that lap. But, oh, and this is a crash. This is a crash from the AlphaTauri, and it's a big one. Can he continue? Yes, he can. Oh, that is lucky, isn't it? That is really lucky that he can continue after that. That was a heavy impact with the wall. I think the fact that he's spun whilst doing it has saved him there. As he lets the Racing Point through. Oh, sorry, his teammate through. We've seen a lot of spins here. We've seen a lot of disqualifications as well. it's quite odd to see actually. But the people at the top, Lucas OVE and PRT Hubert, I still can't believe how close the session is going right now. And we've still got 2 minutes left. Lucas OVE is on his out lap. He's going to get one last lap in. He might get 2 in, you know, if he's lucky. He's got time to get 2 laps in, but I don't think he's going to have the ERS battery deployment left after 1 hot lap. Usually this is what the drivers do. They go out the pits on a new set of fresh soft tyres. They go out, do 1 out lap, they try to wear the tyres as little as possible whilst keeping the temperature in them, and then they do 1 complete and utter hot lap where they push the engines, push the batteries, push the motors, everything. They push themselves to the absolute limit, and then they do 1 cool down lap. Sometimes they can go for another second hot lap, like we've seen in tracks like Portimao, for example, in real life. But on the game, it's usually 1 out lap, a hot lap, and an in lap. As we go on board with Lucas, braking nice and late. Lovely stuff through here. You could really see the caliber of the driver. 7th gear, up to 8th. He's got to brake nice and late here. Where will he brake? Not a hint of a lockup. Wow. Flat out. At the McLaren, oh, that was close. That was really close. Yikes. As Hazard gets disqualified from the session as well. What is going on here with all the disqualifications? Wow, I've never seen this many disqualifications in a single event. Lucas OV, he's down by less than 1/10 of a second. But he might have just saved his tyres here, you know. He might have saved his tyres, and all he wants to do now is get an absolute blistering 3rd sector. He needs to get all of this right. Right to the edge of the track there, braking nice and late. Doesn't lock up, that's crucial. The brake's flaming hot. Round turn 16, gets on the power as early as possible. Where is this going to put him? As it's across the line, and it's a 120.9. Oh, that is fast, isn't it? As Lucas OVE has gone provisional pole position with PRT Hubert. He hasn't gone out for a second lap. I think he's run out of time. Marshy boy here, you know, he might get something special. He is on a flyer. I'm not sure if he's down or up. Let's go on board. Brakes nice and late, doesn't lock up. Has to get on the power nice and early here, which he does. A hint of slipstream from the Red Bull. Where's this going to put him? Is it an improvement? Yes, it is. He's going pole position with a 120.8. That's a 10th faster. What a lap from Marshy Boy as he goes pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. That is a really exciting session, wasn't it? The top 3, I think, covered by less than 0.3 of a second. Wow. Now this is a fast quali session. Marshy Boy in P1 with a 120.88 naught. Lucas OVE P2, PRT Hubert P3, Scales D69 P4, Mordo Jobe 99 P5, Adam P6 in the Ferrari, P7 is Xeltashi X3, P8 Gorsha Gallardo, P9 Juicy Fruit Snacks, P10 Xeratos, and P11 Astrabellio in the Haas. The thing is, Xeltashi X3 is on the medium tyres, so could we see something special from him? This has been a lovely quali session, and I can't wait to get straight into the race. As it's 5 red lights for the Australian Grand Prix and it's underway. Oh no, sorry, excuse me, that's the formation lap, isn't it? That's odd, excuse me, sorry for that. So, it's going to be 29 laps here in Australia. Wow, 29 laps of pure enjoyment, I presume, as Marshy Boy is the one on pole position. Lucas Ovi P2 and PRT Hubert P3. This is going to be an exciting rundown into turn 1. We've seen lots and lots of crashes here in recent years. The biggest one in my recent memory, I think, was Ralf Schumacher going over the top of Rubens Barrichello, wasn't it, in 2003? This track has been on the F1 calendar since 1996, and it's gotten lovelier ever since. These new cars are quite big. Racing has gotten a bit worse around here, in my opinion, but that doesn't equate to the F1 game. In this game, every single race is full of drama, full of excitement, and we can't wait to bring it to you. What Marshy Boy has to do here is try and warm his tyres perfectly. They don't need to get too warm, and he doesn't want to be too far ahead of the pack, otherwise his tyres are going to cool once he stands on the grid. Schumacher quite far back if you look at it, as lots of people are getting disqualified from the formation lap. That's going to be awful for them. They'll not have any tyre temps. As Schumacher, I think, is he on the hard tyres? I think he is. So this is going to be quite the interesting race. As said before, Siltashi X3, the only person in the top 10 on medium tyres, everyone else on soft tyres. Schumacher, the only one on hard tyres. Could he make a one-stop work? We've got to wait and see. As everyone starts forming up on the grid, how is this going to fare? The Williams in P1, Renault in P2, and Alfa Romeo in P3. What a race this is going to be. As it's 5 red lights. It's 5 red lights, and we go green in Australia. Lovely start from Marshy Boy. It seems to have worked lovely. As we're running 3 wide into turn 1. As the AlphaTauri squeezes the Renault into the wall. Yikes, what's gone on there? That's going to go to the studs for sure. As they're squabbling in the background. Lots of carbon fibre everywhere. 3 wide into turn 3. As Adam the F1 King goes to the dive on the AlphaTauri. The Renault and the AlphaTauri make contact as well. It's a 5-second time penalty for Adam the F1 King. So is it for Callum and Schumacher. What a hectic start, as it's Marshy Boy in the lead. Adam the... sorry, I think something's wrong with the timing screen here, as we see this predicted tyre stop strategy. It might be a 2-stop, it might be a 1-stop, who knows, but the action continues. It's Moto Jove, I think in P2, he's gotten past Scalzi in the AlphaTauri, but Marshy Boy has the lead of 1.1 seconds, as I think Adam the F1 King has a problem. No, it's alright, I think he's just let someone through. So Moto Jove, a 0.8 second gap. He's got to catch up to Marshy Boy if he wants to win this race. It's lap 2 out of 29. As Scalzi goes for the move, he goes for the dive, it's too wide. Oh, this is going to be close into the next right-hander. Yellow flags. As Moto Jove keeps second place. Adam the F1 King going for the dive on Scalzi now. As Scalzi is forced off track. Scalzi has been forced off track as Lucas OVE is back up into P4. It's a Renault 2-4 right now. The Renault's going lovely. Lucas OVE gets past Adam the F1 King. Has to cut the corner a bit though. It's going to be crazy down into turn 3. Lucas OVE keeps the lead for now, but is Adam going to go for the dive? No, he isn't. He thinks better of it. Looked down the inside for a second there, but thought better of it. As we ride on board with Juicy Fruit Snacks, who's right up the chop of Adam the F1 King. He's using overtake to try and get past. This is quite the exciting race already, isn't it? Moto Jobe, a 1.5 second gap to Marshall Boy, but he is closing it down. Lucas Ovi, his teammate in P3, a Renault 2-3 right now. The Renault is going lovely. As Skildy has retired, there's been a crash. There's been a crash on the exit of the fast left-right chicane. As I think it's safety car conditions. It's a safety car. Is it a virtual safety car or a safety car? As Marshall Boy decides to pit. This is a clever thing to do right now. But Moto Jobe decides to stay out. So does Lucas OV. So does Adam the F1. I think Marshall Boy and Juicy Fruit Snacks are the only people to have decided to go to the pits. It is safety car conditions. It is safety car conditions. And as they almost crash into the safety car. That is close. Wow, this safety car has thrown a span in the works, hasn't it? Right now, Marshall Boy, the first person to go to the pit stop, the highest placed person to actually go for a pit stop, and he has come out in P8. Okay, so now this is going to be exciting. Moto Jobe needs to now push on those fresh set of soft tyres. They've only done 3 laps. Let's have a look at what tyre Marshall Boy is on. Marshall Boy is on a set of hard tyres. This explains it. I think he wants to run to the end of the Grand Prix. This is going to be quite close. But what this safety car has done is it's brought the cars closer together. It's a big pack now, and it's going to be exciting. Adam the F1 King, he still has that 5-second time penalty to contend with. He's got to serve that once he makes a pit stop. So right now, lap 3 out of 29, it's Moto Jobe 99 in P1 and his teammate in the Renault, Lucas OVE 2003 in P2. Adam the F1 King, the Ferrari in P3, he's got a time penalty looming over his head for contact on lap 1. Seltashi in P4, he's running the medium tyres right now. So how is he looking? Xretos in the Alfa Romeo, only in P5. I think he's got the pace to be better than that. Astrobello in the Haas, he qualified P11. He's got a time to... Oh my god, Marshall Boy has gotten a time penalty. He has gotten a 5-second time penalty for contact with his teammate, I think. Or contact with Juicy Fruit Snacks. Oh, this race is crazy. So, we've got 5 drivers with penalties right now. Adam the F1 King, Xratos NT2000, Astrobello, Marshall Boy, and Juicy Fruit Snacks. Whew, this is quite interesting, isn't it? As Adam the F1 King decides to pit, so does Astrobello. I think most of them probably got wing damage. Most of them got wing damage, I think, after contact. Is the safety car going to be able to come in at the end of this lap? I think it will. Everyone who's spit now is going to have to really boot it to try and catch up to the pack before the safety car comes in. So most people have served their penalties. Callum and Xretos in the Alfa Romeo, the only people who still need to serve their penalties. So lap 4, I think the safety car is going to come in. We haven't received official verification of that, but I think that's going to be the case. I think everyone who pitted should be able to catch up in time, though. It's probably going to be all right for them. How is this restart going to fare? Everyone needs to try and keep their tyres in a lovely temperature window. Something that the people who pitted will have an advantage in is tyre temps. They'll be able to boot it and go really, really fast on the way to catch up to the safety car queue, and that will mean that they will have warm tyre temps once the safety car pulls in and the green flag gets waved. Race control, safety car in this lap. Now this is where it gets exciting. Moto Jobe 99 has the chance to keep the lead. Lucas OV could go for a dive on his teammate, but how is that going to fare with the relations between the two? Xiltashi in P3, he is on the medium tyres. He's looking lovely for the race lead right now, because he can stay on those tyres much longer than any of the others can. Our previous race leader, Marshall Boy, has been into the pits, had got a penalty, and broken his front wing and had to pit again. So he's down in P14. But he did get pole position, so he should have the pace to win this race. Moto Jobe 99 Get on with it. He's got the gap to Lucas Ove, who isn't close enough to go for the dive. Now this is a brilliant start from Moto Jobe 99, as it's too wide with an Alfa Romeo under Williams in the background. It's the boy Alfie gets past Gosha Gallardo, as Callum gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Is that going to be a dive from the Renault? No, he thinks better of it. As Red Bull goes for a dive, Gor Rajay goes for an audacious dive and goes off track. Now that is awful. That is awful. You shouldn't be going for dives like that. That is dangerous, isn't it? As it's complete chaos in the background. P6 downwards. It's going crazy. Gor Rajay, the guy who went for that audacious dive, still keeps P6. Hazard in the McLaren is right up his chuff. Is he going to go for the move around the outside? Yes, he does it. He goes around the outside. It's the switcheroo as Gor Rajay goes off track. And Hazard is going to say thank you very much for that free position. He didn't have to work hard at all for that. And there's too wide in the background. Where's Michael Schumacher going to end up? He gets past Gosha Gallardo as well. Gosha Gallardo having an awful restart. As Magic B Marble gets past Astrobello. Gor Rajay dropping back behind M. Schumacher. As there's a spinner, there's massive collisions. Wow, what's gone on there? PRT Hubert had spun, and now it's complete carnage with Astrobello retiring. Astrobello getting a penalty. Electric Assault retiring from the race in the Ferrari. This is crazy. Multiple people with penalties here. As Gor Rajay pits, I think he had front wing damage. As it's a virtual safety car. It's a virtual safety car right now after that incident in the third sector. As PRT Hubert gets a 5-second time penalty. So does Astrobello. PRT Hubert, of course, the person who qualified P3, was it? Yes, he qualified P3 behind Lucas Ove and Marshy Boy. Now this has thrown another spanner in the works. Everyone who hasn't pitted before could... Oh, as Callum gets a drive-through's penalty for speeding under VSC. As we were saying before, everyone who hasn't pit yet, this could be their last opportunities to pit under safety car conditions. As the green flag gets underway again, it's too wide, but Gosha Gallardo, oh god, Callum goes for the dive. Lovely stuff. As Gosha Gallardo drops back behind his teammate and drops behind Adam the F1 King as well. Callum has got a penalty. Adam the F1 King going for the move on Callum into the fast chicane. Oh, they don't make contact. How have they done that? That is lovely stuff. Adam the F1 King still behind Callum. What's going to go here? Is he going to go for the dive? No, he thinks better of it. He keeps his cool head and he knows as Callum goes off track, and that has let Gosha Gallardo and Adam the F1 King past again. DRS enabled now, so it should be easier as Hazard comes to the pits. He was running the medium tyres. I think he's going to probably switch on to the hards if he wants to go to the end. As Adam the F1 King gets past. Right now, 4 drivers with penalties, both Alfa Romeos, Astrobello and Juicy Fruits. As Astrobello gets another penalty, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Up front, the gap is 1.001 seconds. This is a really interesting race. Sultashi in P3 on the medium tyres. None of the top 3 have made a pit stop yet. Marshy Boy right behind M. Schumacher. Is he going to go for the move? He's forced off track. He's on the inside. Oh, he brakes late. They make contact. He gets forced into the apex of the corner and has to stay behind. Now that was harsh defending from M. Schumacher. As Moto Jobe has dropped behind Exaltashi. I don't know what's happened there. As we ride on board with Marshy Boy, who gets past M. Schumacher. He gets past M. Schumacher in the quick left-right chicane. As M. Schumacher, oh, he thought for that dive for a second, didn't he? He really did think about that. As Adam the F1 King is now hounding in M. Schumacher. The gap between these two, half a second, as it's a fastest lap from Sultashi in the Mercedes, running at this medium compound tyre. Adam the F1 King biding his time behind M. Schumacher now, just waiting for the right opportunity. He is in DRS as I think Gaur Raja has spun. Gaur Raja has spun in the Red Bull. This has been an awful race for him. Oh God, what's up? What's happened to him? I think he's dropped it on the exit of the left-right chicane. And yeah, if this were real life, I would be quite sure that he'd have flat spotted his sides. As Marshy Boy drops behind Adam the F1 King. I think Marshy Boy has made a mistake because both Michael Schumacher and Adam have gotten past Marshy Boy. As Siltashi drops down to P3 now. He's gotten, Modo Jobe 99 has gotten past Siltashi as Itaboy Alpha gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. P4, P5, P8 and P11 onwards all have penalties. Itaboy Alpha now right behind Siltashi. I'm quite sure he made a mistake if he's dropped that far behind Modo Jobe. Oh, as Itaboy Alpha taking all the different lines. He is on the hard tyres. He is probably going to have a run at the Mercedes with Siltashi here. How is this going to end up? As he goes, pulls down to the inside. Is he going to get past even before the braking zone? Yes, he is. He cuts ahead of Siltashi and is ahead. As Modo Jobe 99 has pit in the McLaren. He has pit. He's managed to avoid a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. As here comes the Alfa Romeo around the outside of Siltashi. What a move from Xertos NT 2000. But he's braked way too late and gone off. That's what happens when you can't keep a calm head. Oh God, he's gone for the move. He's braked way too late and gone off track. And that's let Siltashi back through. 0.4 seconds the gap between these two. And it seems now that Siltashi has lost all sense of pace. He had set the fastest lap on lap 7, if I remember correctly, but he's got the worst tyres than Xertos. I'm not sure if Xertos is on these tyres, was on these tyres since the start, but I think he was. As Ashabello gets past Gorshon Giardo, who pits now. Itaboy Alfie, the guy in P2, who's 3.9 seconds ahead of Siltashi, and almost 7 seconds behind Lucas Ov has a penalty as here goes Xertos in the Alfa Romeo, and Siltashi knows what his fight is and doesn't fight him too much. Now that is a clever move from Siltashi. He knows that he's in a slower car, he knows that he doesn't have the right tyres on, and he knows that all he has to do is keep his front wing out of any damage and try and run his own race. So right now, P2 and P3 both have penalties of some sort. This could still be anyone's race. As Marshy Boy, I've just noticed, also has a penalty. As Magic Bee Marble drops behind Juicy Fruit Snacks. Now this, down at the bottom of the grid, it's getting extremely close. Gorshon Giardo doesn't seem to have any pace. As Juicy Fruit Snacks caught up to him almost immediately. He goes for the dive into turn 15. Lovely move. As Adam the F1 King, the person in P6 in the Ferrari, also gets a 3-second time penalty. Juicy Fruit Snacks now on a charge. He's trying to catch up to Callum as fast as possible. He's got DRS wide open. Let's go on board. As Callum, it turns out Callum is not in this race anymore. So right now, Adam the F1 King right behind M. Schumacher. He's got DRS wide open. He thinks better of going for a move down in here. Lucas Ov gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The race leader gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And this is throwing another span in the works. Wow. Adam the F1 King biding his time. He's going to use overtake to try and get past this straight. If not next straight, I'm quite sure he'll have a run on M. Schumacher as they both pass Lucas Ov, who's come out the pits behind P5. Here goes Adam the F1 King. He's in the slipstream. He's got DRS wide open. M. Schumacher doesn't defend the inside line too much, and they make contact. And Adam the F1 King is through. I think M. Schumacher has kept his front wing intact, but he really is lucky. Adam the F1 King, that was a late and cheeky dive, but M. Schumacher did turn in on him, and I'd say that contact is a racing incident. As Siltashi in the Mercedes now is Adam the F1 King's next target. 0.2 seconds the gap. He should get past. And that's an easy move. Nice and late on the brakes. Lucas Ove, a 3-second time penalty now for multiple warnings. I think he's made contact with Siltashi, or he's made contact with M. Schumacher on his way past. There, too wide, and M. Schumacher is off the track. M. Schumacher is off the track. There's been contact between Lucas Ove and the Racing Point. What has gone on there? We panned him just as he shot off track. A bit like the Grosjean incident, the awful crash in Bahrain. As Lucas Ove gets an awful run out of there, and Siltashi almost gets him. Here goes Moto Jobe now on the Mercedes driver. Now this is a race internally between both the Renault drivers. We've seen this in real life as well. The Renaults just always seem to be on the same bit of track as Adam the F1 King slides off into the grass for a bit there, but manages to keep it on track as Hazard gets past M. Schumacher, who has pitted. I'm quite sure he's got front wing damage after the contact he made with Lucas Ove. Now this is Lucas Ove trying to get past Adam the F1 King in the Mercedes. He thinks about going for the dive, but thinks better of it. Both on the hard tyres, of course, equal cars, so the the Ferrari and the Renault both have equal performance. And you can see Moto Jobe 99 just praying that these two make some sort of contact and that he can be the lucky passerby. Lucas Ove knows that he can bide his time, that he has time to make the move. It's only lap 12 after 29. He thinks about it again. He's just showing himself in Adam's mirrors, just trying to build up the pressure. Now, I wouldn't go for a move into the fast chicane if I were him. He's got much better opportunities, and he knows that. Moto Jobe closing up to these two as they fight along. Lucas Ove thinking about going for the move. Is he going to go for it? Adam the F1 King does defend the inside line a bit, but moves over again. Oh, now it's a three-way fight for P3. Who is this going to go in favour for? Lucas Ove on the outside and Adam the F1 King on the inside. Turn 15, they both go side by side. Turn 16, Lucas Ove has gotten ahead, but Adam the F1 King will have the better run. Lucas Ove does have DRS because he was behind at the detection zone. And this is going to be crazy into the next corner. So right now, Lucas Ove, Adam the F1 King and Moto Jobe 99 all in scrap for P2. As here goes Moto Jobe on the Ferrari, as Adam the F1 King does keep the position for a bit, but it's just no match for Moto Jobe 99. Now both Renaults barging their way past, and Moto Jobe 99 has done well to stick behind his teammate, Lucas Ove. Now all they need to do is try, as there's a crash of some sort. It's yellows in sector 1, as they go back on board with the Renaults and the Ferrari. They're both trying to catch up to It's a Boy Alfie, as we've lost intervals for some reason. We've got no clue about the gaps. But what we know is that Moto Jobe 99, the rear gunner for Lucas Ove, the Renault who's currently in P3, he does not have a penalty, whereas everybody around him does. This could be anyone's race still. It's a Boy Alfie out in the lead. And Lucas Ove seems to be pulling away a bit from Moto Jobe, but we don't know because the gaps have gone for some reason. Codemasters really need to improve their game in this multiplayer league racing respect. Because Moto Jobe still has DRS open, we know that he is underneath a second as we get intervals back. It's 0.7 of a second, the gap between both Renaults. Adam the F1 King has dropped the back off the back of Moto Jobe. It's 1.5 seconds the gap now. This could go anyone's way. I think It's a Boy Alfie has not pitted yet. That's why he's got a 12-second gap. But both Renaults are catching him rapidly. 0.5 seconds of gap now. You can see that both Renaults are pushing as hard as they can, finding the limits of the track. They just need to make sure that they do not crash as Siltashi gets the fastest lap in the Mercedes. He really is pushing, isn't he? He is on the soft tyres as well, as PLT Hubert on the mediums goes fastest with a 124.8. This is a crazy race, as Marshy Boy in P7, our pole sitter, is only down in P7. He's on the medium tyres though, and it's only lap 14 after 29, so it could still go anyone's way. 0.5 seconds a gap between P2 and P3. Oh, this could be an exciting race, couldn't it? Hazard has left the session. Unfortunate for him, he has DNF'd out of the race a long time ago. Very unlucky for the bottom three, Scalesy, Electric Salt and Hazard. We've lost them from the race, unfortunately. but this could still go anyone's way. Moto Joby 99 has got DRS. It's less than a second, less than half a second the gap now. Oh God. I think Renaults, they are playing the team game. I hope they don't crash into each other, because it's awful to see teammates colliding. We've seen that so often between the Red Bulls, between the Ferraris, between all sorts of teams, between the Racing Points as well. But the Renaults do have a history. As Moto Joby gets past, they're still side by side. Lucas Ovi tries to hang it around the outside, but oh, he's almost spun on the curb there. Moto Joby going for a late lunge. I did not see that coming, and he has made it stick. Both on the hard compound tyres. Moto Joby into P2 as PRT Hubert gets past Adam the F1 King. As PRT Hubert gets past Marshy Boy, excuse me for my mistake there. 0.7 seconds the gap. It seems like Marshy Boy's pace has just dropped off somehow. He has been the person to get pole position. He was fastest in qualifying, but as we do know, lots of drivers could not set a clean lap in. That's why they started out of position. As Lucas OVE is now 0.7 seconds behind his teammate. These Renaults do seem to have extremely similar pace, as both of them are catching Moto Joby. 9.5 seconds the gap. I'm not sure if Moto Joby still has to pit. Let us see. Yes, he has pit. They've all pit once. I think the reason that Itaboy Alfie is in the lead is because he pit on the safety car, whereas both Renaults did not. That would mean that Itaboy Alfie, in the Racing Point, on the hard compound tyres, is going to have much more tyre wear than both the Renaults. He's going to try his best to try and keep P1 here, but the gap is falling rapidly. 8.4 seconds the gap now, as he's encountered some lap traffic. The Alfa Romeo of Juicy Fruit does get in the way a bit, doesn't he? The gap between both Renaults has increased a bit, 1.5 seconds now. I think Moto Joby just has a bit better pace than Lucas Ove in the race. In qualifying, it was a different story. Lucas Ove was ahead of his teammate, but in the race, it seems to be going other way around, as Lucas Ove gets a 3-second time penalty. I think that's the frustrations of not being able to keep up with his teammate there. He's just asked too much from the track. I think he's gone over the white lines a couple of times probably, and that's why he's gotten the penalty. These strict corner cutting rules on F1 2020 are extremely strict, in some ways stricter than the rules in real life. For example, in the Bahrain Grand Prix, the stewards, they didn't care about track limits at all. Turn 4 had been monitored, but after FP3, no one cared anymore. This could still go anyone's way. Lucas Ove does have a time penalty, so does Itaboy Alfie. Moto Joby 99, 6.9 seconds. 6.8 seconds now behind the Racing Point of Alfie. Oh, this is going to be close. Moto Joby closing in on the Racing Point every single sector. We've seen that gap come down from around 14 seconds to 6.8. He's only got 12 laps to go though. Is he going to be able to make up that 7-second gap? A massive divide between Ixtashi and Adam the F1 King right now. 20 seconds. I don't think I've seen such a big gap between P4 and P5 in a long time. Marshy Boy, the other driver, very unfortunate, had stuck it on pole position, just doesn't seem to be anywhere right now. As we see M. Schumacher in the background, he's had a good race, but he was forced off track, I think, by Adam the F1 King after that contact in between the fast left-right chicane and the end of Sector 2. In that left-hander, in the long left-hander that is considered a straight on the circuit. The Albert Park circuit got 16 corners. It's a crazy track, isn't it? It's got a bad reputation in recent years, but I think that it's because of the cars, not of the track. The track is amazing. It's transformed every single year to what we know it as. This track is a street circuit, of course. Lots of people do forget that. And it's around 3 kilometers away from Melbourne. Lovely place to host an F1 race. And the Australian fans as well. Always at the circuit. FP3, FP1 and FP2. It's always full of fans, as it is today. Lucas Ove now 2 seconds behind his teammate. as they're both catching it to Boy Alfie at a rate of knots. 4.8 seconds the gap now. As Moto Jobe has encountered some lap traffic in real life F1, drivers do get extremely hot under the collar here when they encounter lap traffic, but the ghosting car or the disconnected drivers getting out the way nicely. Next is Astrobello, the Italian racer. He seems to be having an enraging battle with Callum. As they make contact, oh god, I think Astrobello should have gotten out the way faster there. As the Red Bull of Callum does get in the way of Moto Jobe, as it's yellow flags behind. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's yellow flags. As Lucas Ovi has made contact with Red Bull, and he's got wing damage, he's got to pit. This has put Adam the F1 King right back into play now. Adam the F1 King into P3 as Lucas Ovi in 2003 made contact with a lapped car. He's got to serve his penalty as well. It's so much frustration just sitting there waiting for your team to put the front wing back on. Oh, and Adam the F1 King now, 13 seconds. As Marshy Boy has left the session, and I think he's a bit annoyed about how this race went. He had gotten pole position, but now only a lonely P8. It really hasn't been a good race for him, has it? Adam the F1 King, 16 seconds ahead of Sultashi as Lucas OVE drops behind the Mercedes driver. Adam the F1 King has been gifted P3, similar to Alex Albon being gifted P3 in the Bahrain Grand Prix as Sergio Perez had to retire due to the engine failure. Adam the F1 King being gifted P3 as Lucas Ovi makes contact with Red Bull, a lapped Red Bull as well. But Adam the F1 King has been consistent. He has fought hard, and he's only 7 seconds behind Moto Jobe here. This could still go anyone's way. Moto Jobe not closing in that much on Itaboy Alpha here. It's been 4.7 seconds for a good old while now. 9 laps to go in this Australian Grand Prix, and it could still go anyone's way. We might still see a safety car as well. Who knows? Lots of penalties being handed out by the stewards. It really is crazy how strict the corner cutting penalties are on F1 2020. But I think that's what's necessary to keep these racers who do all they can to try and get the lap time out of the cars to stick to the rules. 7 drivers already with penalties. We've seen almost every driver get a penalty this race. Moto Jobe, on the other hand, I don't think I've seen him have a single penalty. As Lucas OV is still in the pits, what is going on there? That has been a lengthy pit stop. I have no clue what went on there, as he drops behind both Alfa Romeos of Stratos and PRTA Hubert. Oh, this is a really odd race. Now we've got a Racing Point in P1, a Renault in P2, a Ferrari in P3, a Mercedes in P4, 2 Alfa Romeos in P5 and P6, another Renault in P7, and Renault really did look strong. They were on course for a double podium, maybe even a 1-2, if both of the drivers could have just got ahead of Itaboy Alfie. It's harder than it sounds, actually, because Itaboy Alfie is a ferocious racer, as it's a yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm not sure what happened here. As it's another 3-second time penalty for M. Schumacher. Itaboy Alfie getting past some lapped traffic now. And Moto Jobe can now see Itaboy Alfie in the distance. That's just spurred him on. The gap is now less than 3 seconds. Oh, 2.7 seconds now. This could go anyone's way. Moto Jobe 99 seems to have the pace overall, but catching is very different to passing. He needs to make the move stick, and the move has to be clean. Otherwise, it could get reported to the stewards, or they might both make contact and have to pit for another set of tyres and a front wing change. That would put Adam the F1 King right back into play, who's just 10 seconds behind the leader. Oh, this is a really, really interesting race. Much better than the real life races, isn't it? Moto Jobe now, still on the hard tyres. I think most drivers would have tried to do a one-stop strategy. Everyone in the top 4 doing one stops from Skultashi down. It's usually more than one stop, with Gorsha Kiyada being the only one to do so. Oh, look at PRT Hubert. 5 stops in this race and he's in P6. Now that is a crazy statistic. Reminds me of Michael Schumacher's weather masterclass in Spain a few years ago. Crazy how many pit stops you can make and still be in a good position. As Skultashi gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And Moto Jobe 99 is less than a second behind Itzaboy Alfie, who I think got stuck behind some lap traffic for a while maybe. Moto Jobe less than a second now. He's got to try and push. He's got to try and close that gap up to less than 0.5 of a second. That's when passing really becomes an opportunity. As the Alfa Romeo tries to get past Itzaboy Alfie for some reason, he should know that this isn't his race and that he should just get out of the way of the leaders. I know it's tempting to stick with the race leader, but he really needs to get out the way now. He's got a 5-second time penalty for ignoring blue flags. Itzaboy Alfie really needs to hope that the Alfa Romeo of Juicy Fruit Snacks will keep Moto Jobe 99 at bay for a bit longer, but it doesn't seem to be going that way. It seems like the Alfa Romeo is trying to get past the race leader for some reason, and this shouldn't be happening. This should get reported to the race steward, and he might get a grid drop for the next race as well, because applying a penalty now would just be pointless, as he isn't even close to any other of the drivers. Luke Silvey gets another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's adding insult to injury here as he's in P7. As Skultashi gets past the Alfa Romeo of Stratos, as it's 0.7 seconds to gap. 0.5 seconds to gap in the race lead here. Oh, this Alfa Romeo really is starting to get annoying. As Moto Jobe gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. This is a really crazy race. As Skultashi does a 1:23.3 and sets a fastest lap on a set of soft tyres. Moto Jobe 1.3 seconds behind now, and he's got that 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He had been consistently keeping it on the track, not going off. That we had rewarded him on stream here for keeping his nose clean and not getting a single penalty, not going off track, not asking too much from the tyres, not going wide in any single corner. But now he has also got on a penalty, and he's got it really depends on the extent of the penalties. It's a way that all the top 4 have penalties. As Juicy Fruit Snacks gets another 5-second time penalty for ignoring blue flags. If I could, I would just shout at him and tell him to get out of the way now, which he seems to be doing. Now that, I'm sorry, but Juicy Fruit Snacks, whoever's racing that car is a complete and utter muppet. You can't interrupt the race lead like that. He's cost 3 laps to Moto Jobe and could have been the cause for the penalty. He might have distracted Moto Jobe, and this is why blue flag rules in F1 are so strict compared to other racing series. For example, V8 Supercars or the DTM even. In championships like that, blue flags are more of a guideline, whereas in F1 they really do disturb the flow of the race, and yeah, it really would get annoying after a while, wouldn't it? As for some reason he's trying to fight Moto Jobe 99, and this is awful racing. I think Juicy Fruit Snacks, if I could, I would apply him a penalty for the next race, a grid drop of some sort, because that's what he deserves in my opinion. Moto Jobe 99 trying to catch Itzaboy Alfie here. 0.6 seconds, the gap between the two. It stayed similar for the last 4 laps. As the Alfa Romeo goes wide and goes into the gravel in the background. As Itzaboy Alfie goes wide, and Moto Jobe does take the lead now in lap 24 of the Australian Grand Prix. On the next DRS zone though, Itzaboy Alfie will have DRS and can use most of his battery if he's got any left. And it's a yellow flag in sector 3 for some reason. I think there's a crash of some sort, and Moto Jobe has already increased the gap by a fair amount here. 1 second the gap between him and Itzaboy Alfie here. Oh, what a race. What a race, as I think it's a Haas of Astrobello who's coming to the pits after damaging his front wing, probably. So right now, it's a boy Alfie. He had led the race for an incredible amount. I think from the moment that both Renaults pitted, he had been leading the race as the AlphaTauri of Juicy Fruit Snacks crashes into the barrier for some reason. That was a pathetic crash, wasn't it? Just veering off into the wall for no reason. I think that's just concentration failing for him there. Really unfortunate to see, on the other hand, that a driver who has had pace to keep with the race leaders for a very, very long time is down there in P9. Certos NT2000 in the Alfa Romeo, the only driver to not have a penalty, as he's being hounded by his teammate PRTA Hubert. 0.2 seconds the gap. Oh, this is going to be close. Who's going to get ahead into the next right-hander? As PRT Hubert gets past, and I think that's orchestrated. Certos NT2000 knew that the team needs these points, that it's crucial for PRT Hubert to stay ahead of Lucas Ovihi, who is catching them. Oh, and that's a massive corner cut by XRT at Certos NT2000. As you can see, Lucas Ovihi in the background, one of the faster drivers here. He stuck it on second place, less than 2/10 off a pole position here. And he has had the pace to get on the podium. He knows he has had the pace. He's going to be kicking himself after this one. He's going to be thinking, what could have been? He's only 1.5 seconds behind Alfa Romeo Certos NT2000 now. He's got to keep on pushing. If he pushes hard, and he's got 3 laps remaining, if he pushes hard enough, he might be able to get PRT Hubert. It's going to be a big ask though. He's pushing extremely hard. Less than a second the gap, as it's a boy Alfie gets another 3-second time penalty. Lucas Ovi, 0.7 seconds the gap now between him and the Alfa Romeo. At 0.5, he really does have more pace, and I think it's going to be an easy move for him here. Yeah, going down the inside. Oh god, veering off to the side there as Juicy Fruit Snacks retires from the race. I think that's deserved for what he's done to the race, ruining our battle for the lead in many respects. But Lucas Ovi right now, less than 3/10 behind the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to go for the move into the fast left-right chicane? Oh, this has got to be ballsy stuff if he wants to make it stick. Oh, but he decides to stick behind, which is the cleverer decision right now. He does have the advantage in tyres. He's got the mediums, whereas the Alfa's on the hards. This has got to be an easy move. Send it down the inside. He's last of the late breakers and makes it stick. Not a hint of a lock-up there, as his tyres are useful. Now he's got to push on. It's a 5-second gap between him and PRT Hubert now. Everyone in the top 6 has a penalty. This really it wasn't the cleanest race out there. As he makes contact with the wall, does he have wing damage? It does not seem that way. Oh, he's lucky, isn't he? He is so lucky that that wasn't wing damage. He was pushing just a tiny bit too hard there, and that has resulted in him shooting off track of it. But he's less than 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds, the gap between him and PRTA Hubert, who I think still has the fastest lap of the race. Oh no, excuse me, it's for Siltashi right now. Siltashi does have a faster lap, excuse me. Lucas Ovi 2003 really needs to push. He had outqualified PRTA Hubert, but the gap was extremely close between the two. Both, of course, on the medium tyres, I think. Oh no, excuse me, PRTA Hubert is on the soft. That might be the reason why PRTA Hubert is staying ahead. 4.6 seconds the gap now. Gorsia Gallardo, 25 seconds behind Marshy Boy. That's extremely close. As Astrobello is only 1.5 seconds behind Gorsia Gallardo in the Williams. This is going to be quite the exciting move. But I think Gorsia Gallardo has disconnected from the session. It's his AI driver driving, and that's the reason why Astrobello is catching him at a rate of knots. The AI really isn't that good around here, and I think it's set down to low. because we don't want the drivers to disconnect and get a good result just thanks to their AI being consistent. So right now, Siltashi has caught up to Adam the F1 King. The gap used to be more than 7 seconds. It's 1.1 seconds now. 2 laps to go. How is this going to fare out? 1.1 seconds a gap. He is on the soft tyre, whereas Adam the F1 King is on the hards. This is going to be quite the lap. As Adam the F1 King gets another 3-second time penalty. Adam the F1 King has another 3-second time penalty. And we really hope this gets decided on track, but we're not sure if it will. Siltashi extremely close to Adam the F1 King right now. 0.3 seconds, 0.1 second the gap for a second there. As PRT Hubert gets time penalties for multiple warnings, 3-second time penalty. That might have put Lucas OVE 2003 into the mix here. As Siltashi, is he going to go for the move into turn 1? Yes, he is. He's on the inside line. He gets past Adam the F1 King. Does he fight back? No, he doesn't. Siltashi lock up into T1. But he gets the move done. Lovely stuff. Adam the F1 King knows that he just needs to try and keep his front wing clean here. He doesn't need to do anything risky. And I think Adam the F1 King, one of the few drivers who actually didn't make any contact in this race. Or any unfair contact, I should say. I think he got a time penalty on lap 1. For contact with Siltashi in the Mercedes, actually. I'm not sure. It'd be lovely if we would have instant replays, but unfortunately the Codemasters F1 game isn't capable of that. So right now, your top 3 are Modo Gerbe 99 in the Renault, Itaboy Alfie in the Racing Point, and Siltashi in the Mercedes. These are the drivers who provisionally, at least, are on the podium. Itaboy Alfie sticking with Modo Gerbe 99 here, you know. 3.4 seconds a gap. Oh, this would have been a lovely race as Modo Gerbe wins the Australian Grand Prix at Itaboy Alfie in P2. Siltashi still in the 3rd sector. What a race this has been from Modo Gerbe. He won in a dominant fashion here today. Lovely stuff from the Renault driver. That's Siltashi. He made the move last lap and he's getting the reward this lap. He is in P3. Adam the F1 King 5 seconds behind. Are penalties going to come into the play of this? We don't know yet. No, they're not. He stays P4. PRT Hubert in the Alfa Romeo manages to stay 2 seconds ahead of Lucas Ovi on track. How is it going to be off track? We still need to wait and see. As Lucas Ovi did have penalties then. That's the reason why. As Certos MT2000 gets ahead of Lucas OVE because of the penalties. What a race this has been. Penalties coming into play as well. Wow. Lucas OVE here in P7. Wonderful stuff. Itaboy Alfie driver of the day. I think this is a deserved driver of the day call. I would have agreed with the Codemasters F1 game completely, you know. As we see the Renault driver taking the top step of the podium, with the Racing Point in P2 and the Mercedes in P3. Lovely stuff. You love to see the drivers, all Brits, all of them Brits, celebrating on the podium. Australian Grand Prix results here. It's been an amazing race, hasn't it? It's been an amazing season opener here in the ERS Formula 1 League. You can always join us every day, every Monday, 6 PM GMT British time. As Modo Gerbe 99 in the Renault got P1, Itaboy Alfie got P2, Siltashi X3 in the Mercedes got P3, Adam the F1 King, lovely race for him, into P4, started P6, PRT Hubert into P3, into P5, Certos NT2000 into P6 after a late penalty for Lucas OVE 2003. M. Schumacher gets P8. Marshy Boy, this had been a lovely chance to show his pace here, you know. He started pole position, ended up P9. Astrabello, the last of the point scorers here. What a race this has been. An incredible race with an incredible result. And I think Itaboy Alfie really deserves some praise for his pace today. From P17 all the way to P2. Making that pit stop under safety car conditions really did save his skin there. What a race this has been.